Okay, so as promised in my unboxing video, I said that I was going to be testing 3 microphones. The microphone that I am speaking into right now, which is the onboard microphone for my computer. And then I wanted to test the microphone on my phone through the Power application. And then lastly, I wanted to test the new Snowball microphone. So I also mentioned that I wanted to do this through about an article each. But I think I'm actually going to do 2 articles. So I think I'll do about 2 articles with the onboard microphone and then 2 articles with the full microphone. And then 2 articles maybe with the Snowball microphone. So let's begin now. Toys R Us pulls Tonka Ride-On from shelves after one started a giant fire. Oh boy, I wonder why. Spontaneous fires don't bode well for product launches. Ask Samsung, as we all know what happened with the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. But anyway, that's why Toys R Us pulled a Ride-On dump truck from its shelves after one turned into a pickup truck bed into an ersatz fire pit. Toys R Us stopped selling the Dynacraft 12V Tonka Mighty dump trunk after one started a fire in a buyer's pickup truck bed. The Ride-On, not everything is a Power Wheels, used a 12-volt battery to produce 45 minutes of electric runtime with a 4 miles per hour top speed and an 8-hour charge time. The company told NBC News that the stop sale was done out of an abundance of caution and not because there's some eerie trend where children's toys start on fire. There's no recall yet, but an investigation is underway. It can still be found on Dynacraft's website or on the Toys R Us website in the same week. Now, one second, this one doesn't make sense here. So it can still be found on Dynacraft's website, but on the Toys R Us... Okay, I think this is a typo. That's why I'm confused here. So they're saying, okay, it can be found on the Dynacraft website, but it was to say, but not on the Toys R Us website. Because it says, but on the Toys R Us website. But okay, anyway, let's just move past that. Though I just had to point that out because it's really awkward. And the same week as Black Friday, no less. Talk about some bad timing. So, yeah, they had to pull this thing off of the shelves when Black Friday was coming up. And I guess that means no money from them if they wanted to sell this particular product. Oh well, better luck next time. Next time they need to step it up with a quality control to ensure that these toys aren't lighting on fire. Wow. President-elect Donald J. Trump on Monday released a 2.5-minute informational style video turned to social media to deliver a direct-to-camera message in which he vowed to create jobs, renegotiate trade agreements and restrictions on energy production, and impose bans on lobbying. Mr. Trump offered what he called an update on his transition, which he said was going very smoothly, efficiently, and effectively. Well, I'm not so sure about it. Anyway, reading from a script and looking into the camera, he steered clear of his most inflammatory campaign promises to deport immigrants and track Muslims and his pledge to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Well, of course he steered clear of that because he knows that he is very famous for his controversial remarks and his loud motor mouth. Whether it's producing steel, building cars, or curing disease, I want next generation of production and innovation to happen right here in our great homeland, America. Creating wealth and jobs for American workers, Mr. Trump said in the video. The brief YouTube video offered one of the few opportunities for the public to hear from Mr. Trump directly since he was elected 2 weeks ago. The president-elect has since declined to hold a news conference since his victory and instead has used early morning Twitter bursts to communicate. Mr. Trump gave a brief middle-of-the-site speech after Hillary Clinton called him on November 9, and he sat for an interview with the Wall Street Journal and an appearance surrounded by his family on CBS News 60 Minutes last week. Since then, he has mostly been behind closed doors as he assembles a cabinet and White House team. In the video, Mr. Trump describes his plans to make America great again on day one. In the video, Mr. Trump described his plans to make America great again on day one, but his message seemed aimed less at the supporters who chanted that slogan at rallies and more at Americans who remain skeptical about it. Yeah, because there's a lot of Americans skeptical about this whole Make America Great Again thing because some people believe that it was never great to begin with, while some people are saying that, it has been a certain time period. But anyway, the president-elect appeared to try to emphasize his appeal to those voters at the end of the video. He promised to provide more updates as he worked together with everyone to reach his goals. And I mean everyone, he emphasized. The video underscored the extent to which Mr. Trump intends to try to navigate around the traditional newspaper and television media outlets as he seeks to communicate his message to the public. Ari Fleischer, who served as White House Party Press Secretary under George W. Bush, said Mr. Trump was using technology to communicate with the public in a format that Mr. Bush's staff would have never dreamed of doing 15 years ago because the news media would have dismissed it as propaganda. President Obama has become adept at doing the same thing in recent years through videos posted on Facebook and other media. So these guys are taking advantage of modern technology and social platforms, which can be used for good things and, of course, for bad things. Mr. Fleischer said he's just doing more of what President Obama successfully did, and what I'm fascinated about is, what does this mean for the future? On Monday, the president-elect met privately with television executives in a confidential session that was described later as a sometimes contentious effort to clear the air after a campaign season in which Mr. Trump often clashed with members of the media. Mr. Trump is also scheduled to meet with editors and reporters at the New York Times on Tuesday. But his decision to deliver a highly scripted video message suggests that he, like Mr. Obama, is eager to embrace new media opportunities. By Monday, Mr. Trump's @RealDonaldTrump Twitter account, which he enjoys using, had 15.7 million followers. Once in the White House, he will inherit @Poches with its 12.1 million online followers. So this guy is pretty big on Twitter. Mr. Trump also spent Monday at his office in Trump Tower interviewing a stream of potential Republican candidates. They included Rick Perry, a former governor of Texas, former Senator Scott Brown of Massachusetts, and Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii, a Democrat. Perhaps the most interesting about Mr. Trump's video was what he did not say in it. On immigration, he avoided any mention of his plan to build a wall along the border with Mexico or his desire to deport immigrants here illegally, whether or not they have a criminal record. He made no mention of ending President Obama's programs that grants work permits to immigrants who were brought here illegally to the United States as children. Instead, Mr. Trump simply promised to direct the Labor Department to investigate visa abuses. The tough-talking president-elect has often railed against Mr. Obama and the generals for what he often called their stupid conduct of foreign policy, said nothing in the video about fighting terrorism, confronting Russian aggression, or pressurizing NATO allies to pay more for their common defense. Of course, because he's trying to make himself seem as innocent as possible here. But he's going to have to address those things sooner or later because people are going to ask him about it. And they have. So let's see how he'll respond. Instead, he said he would ask his top military officials for a comprehensive plan to guard America's vital infrastructure from cyber attacks and from all other forms of attack. Mr. Trump's other promises in the video recap points that he made repeatedly during the campaign, offering a series of executive actions that he says he will order on his first full day in the Oval Office. Some, like his pledge to issue or notification of intent to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal, will be well within his power as president to accomplish. But his additional promise to negotiate fair bilateral trade deals that bring jobs and industry back onto American shores will be in the eyes of the beholder and may not produce the results he expects. Others appear to be overblown by political hyperbole, like his promise in a video to cancel job-killing restrictions on the production of American energy, including shale energy and clean coal, creating millions of high-paying jobs. He did not specify in the short video what restrictions he will lift or how that would result in many millions of jobs. Even supporters of the Keystone XL oil pipeline, which Mr. Trump has said he will greenlight once in office, do not believe it would create millions of jobs if it was built. Mr. Fleischer said Mr. Trump's more inclusive tone in the video was the latest example of a pattern he set during the campaign of dialing back his impulse for fiery speech when he felt it was in his interest. He has said this about himself, that he knows how to be really boring when he wants to be. Mr. Fleischer said of Trump, he's so self-aware about the fact that there are these two Trumps and we're seeing more of the other one since he won. So I'm guessing what he's trying to say here is that during the campaign, he was trying to feel it was so big, bad, and balls out. And now that he won, I guess he's trying to scale back or try to be a little nicer. I don't know what to say about this. But anyway, I'm just going to move on to my next article, which will be tested on my phone through the Parrot application. Alright, so now for an article on why hydro bills in Ontario are so damn high. Like, for real though, why are they so ridiculously high? Let's read this and find out. Kathleen Wynne admits high electricity prices are her mistake, but fixing things won't be easy. Premier Kathleen Wynne grabs attention this weekend by admitting a mistake. It's not something politicians do all that often. When they do, you can be assured there's a darn good reason. In Wynne's case, it looks like she's trying to neutralize or at least lessen the damage that skyrocketing hydro bills are doing to her popularity. I take responsibility as leader for not paying close enough attention to some of the daily pressures in Ontarians' lives, Wynne told the Ontario Liberal Party's annual general meeting held in Ottawa. Electricity is an example. Wynne defended Liberal government moves to make Ontario's electricity system cleaner and more stable, but admitted that the cost has burdened people in every corner of the province. People have told me that they've had to choose between paying the electricity bill and buying food or paying rent, Wynne said. It is unacceptable that people in Ontario should be facing that choice, so our government made a mistake. It was my mistake. and I'm going to do my best to fix it. Yet, fixing high hydro prices is no easy task. It's not a simple system, it is a complex system, Energy Minister Glenn Thibault said on Monday. When pressed by reporters for specifics about the Premier's weekend promise to find more ways to lower rates and reduce the burden on consumers, Thibault, I don't know if I butchered his name or not, is ruling out another taxpayer-funded subsidy beyond the promised rebate of the provincial portion of the HST, 8%, starting in January. So this means chipping away at the factors that actually drive costs in the hydro system. Here are the key reasons why your hydro bills are so high and why it'll be a challenge for the Wynne government to lower them enough that you notice. Number 1. Oversupply of power. Ontario's electricity producers are generating more power than we consume in the province. The government is locked into contracts to purchase that power regardless. It sells off the excess to the US at rates below the cost of production. And even though you aren't consuming that power, you still have to pay for your share of it every month through a line on your power bill called the Global Adjustment. So they're producing more power than we're using. I'm pretty sure they're doing it for a just-in-case measure because I think they kind of want to just produce enough and have some to spare than to not produce enough and then have the people in need, I guess. This dynamic is made worse because demand keeps falling, said Greenpeace energy campaigner Sean Patrick Stencil. Covering the cost of this excess surplus supply is spread over fewer kilowatt hours. He argues that the government could solve the excess power problem in one stroke by taking the entire Pickering nuclear station offline. So okay, I've been hearing about it for quite a while actually, that they wanted to stop this thing and just put it out of production. And okay, I don't know what I'm saying here. Anyway, cancelling power contracts seems an easy solution, but not a cheap one. Remember, it costs $1 billion to cancel those infamous gas-fired power plants in Mississauga and Oakville. Number 2, pricey green energy. Wind, solar, and bioenergy account for 6.3% of total electricity generated in the province, but 16% of the total generation costs, according to the Auditor General's recent investigation into hydro prices. Auditor Bonnie List criticized the government for offering overly generous contracts when it launched its big green energy push in 2009. Despite shifting gears to a competitive bidding process, the auditor found that in 2014, Ontario was still paying double the market price for wind and 3.5 times the market price for solar energy. So green energy is really expensive, but we're going to have to find a way to try and embrace it and make it affordable because in the future, we're going to kind of need it. Number 3, weakened energy watchdog. The Ontario Energy Board is the independent body that regulates electricity pricing in the province, but not all electricity pricing. It has little ability to control the price paid to electricity generators other than Ontario Power Generation's nuclear plants at Pickering and Darlington and most of OPG's hydroelectric dams. Anytime OPG wants to increase these prices, it has to seek approval from the board. But the OEB does not have that power over private producers. They negotiate prices directly with the government and have negotiated some rather profitable contracts since that is their motive. They now account for about half of all the electricity generated in Ontario. Therefore, a significant chunk of your hydro bill is out of the reach of the regulator that's supposed to protect the interests of consumers. Number 4. Time of use pricing. Ontario brought in smart meters to allow for variable pricing of electricity during the day, with the aim of driving down consumption during the times of high use by raising the prices substantially during those peak periods. The move has had little effect on peak demand, according to an analysis commissioned by the government's independent electricity system operator. It means that we're still consuming plenty of electricity during those peak periods and paying a lot more for it than before smart meters have arrived. So I'm not sure if those of you in Ontario know this, but there are certain hours that you should be using electricity extensively and certain hours where you should try to just keep it on the low. You know those hours. Now, number 5, well-paid hydro workers. Wait, hold on a second. So the workers are the reason? Actually, then again, that makes sense because the more we pay, the more goes into their pockets so they can buy their big fancy lunches, dinners, Lamborghinis, Maseratis, Ferraris, Bentleys, Aston Martins, Pagani, you name it. The latest edition of the Sunshine List includes 7,632 employees of Ontario Power Generation. Their earnings total $1.07 billion Canadian dollars. Woo! That was not necessary. The last time Hydro One workers were on the Sunshine List in 2014, there were 4,279 employees with salaries totaling $550 million. Wow! I want $550 million. Give me some of that good money. The Auditor General flagged in 2013 that generous salaries, pensions, and benefits of OPG, especially among top executives, were partly to blame for rising hydro prices. Well, go figure. I'm not surprised about that. I'm really not. Why should we be? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? Now for the next article that I will test with this part application. Hewlett-Packard could release a consumer Windows phone in February 2017. Now, as you may or may not know, they already have this phone called the HP Elite X3, which is a high-end flagship Windows 10 phone. So if you haven't heard about it, look it up, give it a try, and maybe even buy it. Now, let's see what this article is about. So, German website drwindows.Deutschland has come out and said HP and Microsoft are working on a consumer edition Windows phone to be released in February 2017. The site says it has received concrete evidence that the phone is real, but hasn't been told about specs or features. However, the site predicts that the phone could come with Lumia technology such as a clear black screen, glance screen to check on notifications, a camera key, and a great camera because, as you know, Windows Phone people love their cameras. And that's because of the Lumia line. They've been seriously spoiled by that line. More than one source has told Dr. Windows about the HP Windows Phone, and another has said that Microsoft has sent an internal memo around referring for plans to hold a Windows Phone event in February next year. Wait, isn't that the Mobile World Congress, I believe? Yeah, I think it is. Yes, it is. See, same thing here. February is Mobile World Congress month, and considering that the HP Elite X3 was announced there, plausible evidence to suggest that HP could return to Barcelona in 2017. Neither HP or Microsoft have commented on the rumors, and Dr. Windows does stress that it is all still rumor for now, so it should be taken with a pinch of salt, as it may all end up being false information. Windows phones have the ability to be used as both a smartphone and to act as a computer when hooked up to a monitor thanks to Windows Continuum feature. Although, to be honest, I can't just wait for the day to come where they just run desktop applications. I think that's what we all want, and I believe we should see that soon with the Surface phone. But anyway, from our brief hands-on time with the HP Elite X3, we're impressed with the speed of the device and its ability to easily handle programs such as Word and PowerPoint. We've also recently seen images of a possible Microsoft Surface phone, which I just talked about, which could be made by Dell. With two strong rumors of Windows Phone devices now circling, Microsoft may finally be ready to take on the likes of Google and Apple. And if they're going to do that, like I say, they need to have phones that can run desktop applications, because that will just make them so incredibly awesome. It'll be able to kick Google and kick Apple. Okay, no, it's not going to be kicking anybody anytime soon, but hey, at least it should make them reasonably competitive. So let's see how it'll fare. Stay tuned for February 2017 at the Mobile World in Barcelona. Now it's time to go test the Blue Snowball microphone. Alright, now, so for the first article that I'm going to be testing with this microphone. Okay, this is kind of unfortunate, but here we go. School bus driver charged in deadly Chattanooga crash. In Chattanooga, Tennessee, police arrested a Chattanooga... Actually, am I even pronouncing that word? Okay, you know, let's not pay too much attention to my pronunciation of that word because I really don't know how to say it. But here we go. So police arrested a Chattanooga school bus driver on charges including vehicular homicide after a bus crash killed 5 students. Calling the Monday afternoon crash every public safety professional's worst nightmare, Chattanooga Police Chief Fred Fletcher told an overnight news conference that 24-year-old school bus driver Jonathan Walker was charged with 5 counts of vehicular homicide. Walker was also charged with reckless driving and reckless endangerment. Investigators were looking at speed very, very strongly as a factor in the crash, Fletcher said earlier. An arrest affidavit posted online by Chattanooga station WTVC says Walker was driving well above the posted 30 miles per hour speed limit on a narrow, winding road. His bond was set at $107,500, according to the affidavit. Okay, you know, I've never seen that word before, so please don't judge me. I don't know if it's supposed to be affidavit or affidavit or whatever, but anyway, let's just read. Police said overnight that the 5 children were killed in the crash. Earlier Monday, Hamilton County District Attorney Neil Pinkston told news outlets that the crash killed 6, not 5, but 6. The Associated Press was not immediately able to reach officials Tuesday morning to explain the discrepancy. 35 students from kindergarten through 5th grade were on board when the bus flipped onto its side and wrapped around a tree. Wait, wrapped around the tree? Ouch, that's serious. The bus was the only vehicle involved in the crash, but Fletcher said the scene was complicated and covered a significant area. He also said a warrant had been issued to remove the bus black box, which contains data about the vehicle's movement. Bloodied Woodmore Elementary School students lay on stretchers while others walked away dazed with their parents after the crash. Local news outlets reported. More than 20 children went to the hospitals for their injuries, according to Fletcher. Emergency responders needed almost 2 hours to get all the children off of the bus. Television cameras showed emergency vehicles still there late into the night, and the National Transportation Safety Board tweeted that a team would be heading to Chattanooga on Tuesday morning to investigate. Chris Harris, a parent of 2 children who were on the bus, told ABC's Good Morning America Tuesday morning he thought that the bus driver sometimes drove too fast. So it sounds like this guy knew this guy, and he was uncomfortable with his speed, because you do have these drivers sometimes that just drive way too fast for their own good, and it makes you nervous. For those of you that have been in that situation. There has been times where I've seen him going a little bit faster than he probably should be going, Harris said. Harris said his daughter and stepson were in shock and pain after seeing the crash, but were doing better Tuesday morning. Television stations reported that the people lined up to donate blood, and some donors were asked to make appointments for Tuesday. Kurt Kelly, interim superintendent of Hamilton County Schools, said classes would be held Tuesday with counselors available for students and staff. Fletcher said the families of the children who died had been notified, but police would not release their names because they were juveniles. Our hearts go out, as well as the hearts of all these people behind me, to the families, the neighborhood, the school, for all the people involved in this. We assure you we are doing everything we can, Fletcher said. At the state capitol in Nashville, Tennessee, Governor Bill Haslam called the crash a tragic event and offered assistance. We're going to do everything we can to assist in any way, Haslam said. It's a sad situation anytime there's a school bus involved with children, which there is in this case. And I can just imagine how these families are really grieving right now. So thoughts, prayers, and condolences for those that lost their young children, because it is a very, very sad time for them. Alright, so now here we have 10 of the hardest words to pronounce in the English language according to non-native speakers. And first on the list we have colonel. Native English speakers know that this 16th century word, which is derived from Middle French, is pronounced colonel. What? However, those learning English as a second language get confused by the first O sounding like an E, the L that sounds like an R, and the second O which is completely silent. Here are 17 words you mispronounce without realizing it. The word is pronounced as colonel. I don't think I ever hear anybody saying it as colonel. What? I don't know if this is supposed to be American or British, but anyway. And off the next word we have Worcestershire. Let's be honest, this word is actually hard for native English speaking Americans to pronounce too. It looks like it's pronounced Worcestershire, but it actually retains the British English pronunciation. Worcestershire sauce originated in the town of Worcester, England, and is pronounced Worcester, while the term shire is the British word for county and sounds like the ending of Hampshire. Therefore, the word is pronounced as Worcestershire. Don't miss the foods we commonly mispronounce. So that's another article they're hyperlinking there. Okay, so it does look like it's pronounced as Worcestershire, but seriously, Worcestershire? Wow. No, not even Worcestershire. Worcestershire. Goodness. Again, I told you with my terrible pronunciation of words. Oh, this is a pretty famous one. Mischievous. Because I know, and I remember that when I was a child, I'd always say mischievous, but it's actually mischievous, although some people still say mischievous when it's supposed to be mischievous. Okay, that's enough twisting of the tongue there. Now, like Worcestershire, I don't know, mischievous is one of those words that many Americans also have trouble with. In fact, you've probably heard many people announcing the word as mischievous when it's actually a 3-syllable word pronounced as mischievous. That problem lies in the fact that the old form of the word was spelled with an extra I at the end, which was standard until the 1700s. And now for the next word, draught. Non-native English speakers can easily get confused by the pronunciation of this British word because it has double irregularity. First with the AU vowel combination, and then again with the G, H, and T consonant blend. While it looks like it might be pronounced draught, it's actually pronounced draft. What? It's actually pronounced draft, like the word laugh, and usually refers to an alcoholic beverage drawn from a keg. It's actually pronounced draft. Draught. In what context? Anyways, I'm starting to kind of doubt the credibility of this test, but let's just keep going. Quinoa. While the popularity of this ancient grain has grown in recent years because of its superfood powers, many people still struggle with how to pronounce quinoa because of its numerous vowel blends. If you apply standard English rules, you'd think it'd be pronounced as quinoa, but it's actually a Spanish word that has numerous acceptable pronunciations, including quinoa, quinoa, and even quinoa. These ancient grains could be next to the quinoa, although that's not the article, so I'm not going to click there. You won't even see this entry because for this entry, I'm just going to show just the slide of the article. Maybe I should do all the slides, I don't know, but let's just move on and I'll make my mind later. Onomatopoeia. Ono what? Onomatopoeia is the hard to pronounce name given to a literary device referring to words that imitate the sound they make, such as buzz, meow, and roar. The pronunciation of the word, however, is slightly less easy to understand because more than half of the 6-syllable word's 12 letters are vowels, and 5 of them are blended together at the end. Say what? O, no, on, o, mat, o, p, a. And you'll be on your way to sounding like an English literature genius. Check out the funny old-timey words that can alleviate your cocktail conversation skills. No thanks. Not interested in cocktails. Scissors. Yes. This is a fairly common word, and most native English speakers have no trouble learning how to pronounce it. However, if you're an English language learner, the double consonants in this Middle English word can certainly trip you up and make you think that it's pronounced skizzers, when we know it's actually pronounced scissors. Not to mention that it ends in an S, which typically refers to a plural and is called a pair, even though it's a single instrument. Confused it? No, I always knew it was scissors. Oh, okay, maybe not always. I'm pretty sure another one or two I probably did say skizzers. I don't know, but I don't find scissors particularly challenging. But then again, I could be biased because I'm a native English speaker. Anemone! And to be honest, I used to say anemone, so I am very guilty. I did not even have to say that on camera, but oh well, I did. If you're a fan of Finding Nemo, you might remember the scene where Mr. Ray asks Nemo what type of home he lives in. Nemo's answer? An anemone. It's not surprising that even little Nemo trips over his own wildflower-built habitat. The vowel-heavy word looks like it should rhyme with tone or bone and be pronounced as an-e-mon or ein-mon, but it's actually pronounced a 4-syllable word pronounced as anemone. Not anemone or anemone, but anemone. Goodness, it feels so. Isthmus. This 2-syllable word is pronounced as isthmus, refers to a narrow passage of land between two seas. It's also one of the most confusing for non-native English speakers to learn. Why? First off, the sound combination doesn't even exist in some languages, including German and Dutch, which I find weird because they're both Germanic languages, so it makes you wonder, how do they not have a sound? That's odd. Oh well, anyway, this raises the difficulty level. Then, to further complicate matters, the sound in this word is silent, so you can ignore it anyway. Still struggling? Keep your tongue behind your teeth while speaking this word, and this can help with the pronunciation. Oh boy, here we go. And I just shook my microphone. Otorhinolaryngologist. This is the term given to an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and it's probably one of the most difficult to pronounce medical specialties in the entire history of mankind. What makes it so tricky? Well, aside from the silent H and the irregular use of the consonant Y, the word has 21 letters and 8, yes, count them, 8 syllables. So if you have problems using the formal pronunciation, which is otorhinolaryngology, you can just refer to the doc by her more formal title, an ENT. Yeah, that's much easier, because I can't say that otorhinolaryngologist G one word. Or we can just call them the ear, nose, and throat doctor. Why not? Because after all, the formal title, the informal title is ENT, so let's just go with that. Like, nobody has time to remember that. Actually, well, you should have time to remember that. Take the time. Learn it. Speak like an English boss. I'm done here now. Okay, so I had the snowball microphone positioned a little awkwardly, making it sound as if it were a little far away, not to mention the fact that I may have had it in the wrong mode. Oh well. I'll learn to use it better as time goes on. Did you like this video? Which microphone sounds the best? Comment, rate, like, subscribe, share, read my blog for more information, visit my Twitter page to see my latest tweets, and visit my Instagram page to take a look at the pictures from my latest videos. Also, don't forget to participate in the polls in the top right corner in the I circle.